Time to add in a new rhythm value. So far we have added a quarter note and rest worth 1 beat, a half note and rest worth 2 beats, a dotted half note and rest worth 3 beats, and a whole note and rest worth 4 beats. So it's finally time to add in something that's shorter than 1 beat. One thing that you may have noticed as we've gone along is that the more complicated a note is to draw, the shorter it is. If I just draw a circle, that's worth 4 beats. If I add a stem to it, suddenly it's worth 2. And if I fill it in, it's worth 1. The dots are the exception to this rule. Now, if I want to make this worth even less, go from 4 to 2 to 1 to half of that, I need to add a flag. Or, if I have 2 of them together, I will beam them together. These notes are worth the same amount. They are both worth a half of a beat. However, because they're worth half of a beat, we're going to make things a little bit more complicated. Trust me when I say that if you do not say something out loud, like a number or whatnot, for every single note that you have, it turns into a mess. It turns into a very big mess. So we're going to add these in right away, because seriously, the best way to understand them is to just work with them. These are called eighth notes, by the way. They're half of a quarter, so they're called eighth notes. So these lovely things are each worth a half a beat. So together, this gets 1 beat. So just 1, 2, right? Yeah, that should work just fine. 1, 2, and this would get 1 together, and this one would get 2. Well, here's what often happens if you do that. 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's not actually right. So we're going to add something to say in between every single beat, and that is going to be an and. It's actually not in between every beat, it's now the second half of every beat. So what I just put in a box now is an entire beat. Each box is a beat. I'll put this one in 3/4 to have more examples. So if I draw a quarter note at the beginning, it no longer just takes 1, because if it just took 1, it would only take half of the beat. It would only take half of this box. It needs to take the entire beat. So now all of our quarter notes say a number and an and. And since our eighth notes take half of a beat, well, we have 2 things to say in the beat. So this one's half of a beat, this one's half of a beat. Half of a beat, half of a beat. Same thing right there. This should make a lot more sense as soon as I do this. So if you're confused, simply hold on and listen here to see if this clarifies anything for you. 1 and 2 and ready, here I go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Again, you might think, oh, well, I should just say the ands when I have eighth notes, this new short note. Well, here's what happens if you do that. You tell me what's wrong with this. 1, 2, here I go. 1, 2, and 1, and 2. Did you hear how they were actually all the same length? Yeah, they're not supposed to be like that. So we need to say our ands all of the time. 1, 2, ready, and go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. We'll give one last little bit of an example, staying in 2/4. Right here, let's add a rest in. And we'll end with 4 eighth notes. And just to hammer in the point that they're the same length, it doesn't matter if they have a flag or a beam, I'm going to draw one pair each like this. Okay, I ran out of room for my double bar line. There it is. So this one would say now, instead of just saying 1, 2, it has to say 1 and 2 and in order to get both entire beats. 1 and, this one gets a whole beat, so it's going to take 2 and. 1 and 2 and. Again, these have the same value. It doesn't matter if they're written with a flag or a beam. I will say that so many times to make sure it gets straight. Okay, last thing, here we go. 1 and 2 and 1 and ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Feel free to watch that back over if you need any clarification. And always, as always, feel free to ask me as well.